Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition in our first Edge of Eternities edition of Budget Magic, and we got a sweet one this week. We are heading to our new standard format to play some Kavu Warp, a deck that I'm really excited about because it is playing a ton of cards from the new set and a bunch of Kavu, and who doesn't love Kavu? So let's talk about Kavu Warp, what it's trying to do, jump into some games, see the deck in action. So as you can see, we're playing this on early access day. You can see all these ghosted out cards. These are the cards that aren't technically in my collection, which means these are all the cards from the newest set, and we have a ton of them. So what is this deck trying to do? If you look at our deck, almost all of our creatures have the new warp mechanic. We have Possibility Technician, a 3-mana 3/3, but we can warp it for 2 mana. If you don't know what warp does, it means we can cast it for that cost, but then the card goes to exile in our end step, and then we can cast it again for its full price later. So we have Possibility Technician, which when it enters, or another Kavu, we impulse draw a card that we can cast as long as we have a Kavu. We have Memorial Team Leader, another Kavu. It's just a 4-mana 4/3 that we can warp for 2. During our turn, other creatures get +1/+0. We have Weftstalker Ardent, a 3-mana 2/3, that when a creature artifact enters under our control, we get 1 damage at our opponent, we can warp it for 1. And then Nova Hellkite, this is just our big finisher. We can warp it for 3 mana. It's a 4/5 with flying and haste. It deals a damage to a creature when it enters, so we can smash our opponent for 4, cast it later for 5 mana, smash our opponent for 4 again. So why are we playing all these warp cards? And the trick of this deck is we're trying to warp things in and then give them haste. If you look at the rest of our deck, we're playing 4 copies of Full Bore, a 1-mana instant that says target creature you control gets +3/+2 until end of turn, but if the creature was cast for a warp cost this turn, it also gains trample and haste. So what this means in practice is we can warp a Weftstalker Ardent for 1 mana, Full Bore it, smash it for 5 with trample, maybe on turn 2, and then the next turn we just cast the Weftstalker Ardent. If we do it with a Memorial Team Leader, we're smashing our opponent for 7. Possibility Technician hits for 6. We also have Wild Ride, which essentially does the same thing, except we don't get trample out of the deal, but it's a backup way to hasten our warp creatures, because if you just warp things for no purpose, it doesn't really do anything. Like if we just pay 2 mana and warp a Memorial Team Leader, I guess it kind of maybe pumps some of our other creatures for a turn, but it doesn't really do much. But if we can give the warp creature haste in that window before it goes to exile, then it becomes incredibly powerful. So that's essentially the idea of the deck. We also have a Tanic as another Kavu that also lets us warp anything, gives all of our stuff haste. Enduring Courage gives all of our stuff haste when it enters and +2/+0. So if we get these down before we start warping, we just deal a huge amount of damage. Otherwise, we get a bit of burn. Since we're playing a bunch of warp stuff, we get Plasm Bolt, which is essentially a sorcery speed lightning bolt, assuming we either had a non-land permanent leave the battlefield or we warp something this turn. So that's pretty much all we want to do with the deck. Warp stuff, smash it with the warp stuff with haste, then we can cast it later at full price, smash again with it, and trust that that's going to get our opponent's life total down to 0. So anyway, that's Kavu Warp. That's our budget magic for this week. Let's jump into some games and see if this ridiculous plan can actually work. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap-up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats, tokens, and more over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. Budget magic time! Edge of Eternities is finally here, and we're playing some mono red warp today, and let's see if this warp mechanic is actually any good. We are about to find out. We are full bore. We're going full bore. Opponent swamp. Timeline Color. Gonna get in for 2. Well, play a land, and let's get down a Hired Claw. That's the turn. Opponent swamp. Timeline Color. Again, gonna get in. Hit us. Well, let's play the land. I think we just warp the Weftstalker Ardent. Full bore it. Hit ya. Down to 11. Ardent. Ooh, okay. We get a little animation for the warp. Opponent land end. Requiem Monolith. Okay. Gets in, hits us down to 14. And gonna draw a card, lose a life with the Monolith. Sure. Down to 10. Well, we will play the land, and we will get down the Weftstalker Ardent, and get him with the Hired Claw, hit you. Down to 9. I mean, I think the power of full bore with warp creatures is actually pretty good. Like, if you have warp creatures, full bore is kind of ridiculous. Pound it. Umbral Zealot. Vengeful Blood Witch. Passes. Well, play the land, and I think we just play an Enduring Courage here. Burn you for 1. Pass the turn. Now we can double warp next turn, and all of our stuff has haste, and hopefully win the game. We'll see. Pound it. Greedy freebooter. Sephiroth. Okay, so that can gain our opponent a life. Thanks to the Greedy freebooter. Draw a card. Get a trigger. So opponents like mono black aristocrats? Sure. Well, gonna be close. Can we beat a deck that has one card that costs more than our entire deck? That is the question. We will block with Enduring Courage. This card's busted. If our opponent wants to flip their Sephiroth, they're gonna have to sack a bunch of stuff right now. Wow, opponent lets it go. All right, Enduring Courage. I'm gonna come back. Opponent gets a Sephiroth trigger and a Blood Witch trigger. And opponent, Corrupted Conviction. Gonna do some sacking to draw a couple cards, get a trigger. Down to 7, flips the Sephiroth. Oh, we might be dead then. Opponent's all the way back up to 14. They had a pretty good Sephiroth turn there. What are we doing, Ruben Black? Opponent, after much deliberation, taps a Requiem Monolith for no value, passes. Well, okay. So we will, I don't think we can win from here, can we? Let's warp a Possibility Technician. It gets haste. We burn ya. Let's warp a Memorial Team Leader. It gets haste. We burn ya. Play the land. Go to oh wait. Go to combat attack. Burn ya. Can we win through the Sephiroth turn? Is there a chance? Opponent looking, counting, adding. Blocks a Possibility Technician. We can give it trample. We can give it trample. Do they have a removal spell? Are we going to steal this? Are we going to steal this? Are we going to steal it through the Sephiroth? Full bore on the Possibility Technician. Pump it. Trample it. Kill him. Kill him. Whoa. They flipped the Sephiroth, but the power of our janky warp creatures coming down with haste with Enduring Courage. Good enough. Memorial Team Leader. Who knew? Memorial Team Leader and Possibility Technician were so good. All right. Well, sweet. We got Kavus and warp cards. Sounds about right. Sounds about right. We don't have any haste shenanigans, although the Nova Hellkites naturally have haste. Let's land go. Opponent, Godly Shrine, passes. Well, play the land, and yeah, I guess we just have to pass. This is better next turn. We can warp it. If we hit a land, we can play opponent. Gloom Lake Verge. Ugh. Well, let's warp the Possibility Technician. Get a trigger. See if we can hit a land. All right, play the land. Oh, they have removal, don't they? They're playing a control deck. Do we want to warp this? Do we just go for the full bore? You know what? Let's do it. Full bore. Let's do it. They probably have removal, but this is what our deck came here to do. I don't think we can pass up the possibility of just smashing for 6. Opponent, bitter triumph. All right, at least we got in for 3. Opponent. They might be some sort of reanimator deck. That's kind of scary. Watery Grave. Well, we will warp a Nova Hellkite. All right, opponent. Kills it. Takes 3. Down to 14. I mean, we have 4 points of burn in hand. Opponent passes. We draw a land. We'll play the land. Warp Leftstalker Ardent. Warp a Nova Hellkite. Ping you for 1. Down to 9. Oh, we're so close. We're so close. Nova Hellkite's feeling pretty good. Found it. Consult the star charts. Gonna do a little drawing, do a little digging, see if they can find some answers. Well, we got to pick them both up. For now, Warp already feels good. It already feels good. We have not got to play with it much, but it already feels like a really strong mechanic. Godless Shrine tap, opponent passes. Well, let's play this Leftstalker Ardent. Play a Hired Claw. Paying it down to 8. We're getting close. Opponent, Meringue River Regent to draw some cards. So our opponent is Esper Control. The scariest card's probably Biza, because that undoes a lot of our work here. That would be the worst. Something that gains a bunch of life. Opponent, Undercity Sewers. Mills and Island. Beyond the... All right, let's draw land. Let's draw land. Let's draw land. Ugh, not a land. All right, let's just full price this memory team leader. Land for our opponent. Meringue River region. Can we just draw one more burst lightning? If we just draw one more burst lightning. Nova Hellkite. Now let's play the team leader again. Opponent Swamp. Man, are we gonna lose this? Starwinder. Opponent gets in. Gonna draw 1,000,000 cards. Literally 1,000,000 cards. We find Possibility Technician. Well, let's warp a Nova Hellkite. Ping whatever. Drops to 3. We're gonna Burst Lightning the Starwinder. And pass the turn. All right. Can we resolve these 2 Burst Lightnings? About it. Land. Come on, no life gain, no life gain. Nothing that gains life. Gets and hits us. For 6, down to 8. Opponent passes. Well, let's warp a Possibility Technician. Opponent has a no more lies. All right, well, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Gets and hits us. Down to 2. Ah, this means they're going to hit counters. Man, we were so close. Opponent stocks up. They just drew so many cards. They're gonna find what they need. Opponent plays the tap land. Well, Burst Lightning your face. Down to 1. Burst Lightning your face. Opponent finds another no more lies. Plasm Bolt your face. Oh, we got there! We got there in Warp Aggro, taking down the control deck. I didn't think we were going to get there. I honestly thought with our opponent drawing 6 cards in one turn off, off the Starwinder, I thought we were done. I did not think we were going to beat the control deck with a new hand. They even got the stock up. But in the end, the Kavus, better than the Dragons. Sweet. And so far, Warp has actually felt really good. Like, surprisingly good. Better than I expected. Better than I expected it to feel. Sand looks pretty good. Got a couple Kavu. Got a full board to pump the Kavu. Haste him in. Well, land. Goo. Opponent planes. Passing. Well, land and... I think we wait till next turn. And then we can, the Iron Crag opponent's artifacts. All right, this is scary. Well, opponent passes. Let's Possibility Technician. Play a land and full bore it. Hit you for 6. Down to 14. Braided net. Okay. Okay, better than a synthesizer, that's for sure. So let's warp a Wefstalker Ardent. And then play the land, play the Possibility Technician. Do a little impulse draw and hit you for 1. And pass the turn. Man, Warp actually plays really fun. I really, really like how Warp is playing opponent land. Please no United Battlefront. That is the card that would be the worst for us. Into like a bunch of synthesizers. Okay, repurposing Bay. So that can sack the Iron Crag to get a synthesizer. That is scary. And then they can use a Braided Net to tap down the dragon, maybe? All right, opponent. All right, gonna do it. Gonna sack. I mean, they gotta be getting the synthesizer, right? That's the only thing that makes sense to me is I'm getting a synthesizer here. Wow, okay. Gonna get the Perilous Snare. Well, in that case, I think what we do is warp this Memorial Team Leader. Which then lets us... Oh, no, that's dumb. Yeah, I played that backwards. I was thinking we could warp the Nova Hellkite, but it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. We can't warp from exile. Oops. Yep. Good to remember about it. Well, at least they don't have a synthesizer. Lodestone Needle. All right, stun counter on the Ardent. On this, they can sack to get the synthesizer, so it still is coming. Oh, we got to get him lower on life because we need to be able to finish our opponent with burn, and I don't know if we're low enough yet. Oh, this braided nut's an issue. Well, let's Memorial Team Leader. Burn, yeah. So we can cast the Burst Lightning from Exile. All right, there's the Repurposing Bay. This is going to be super close. And then opponent, Repurposing Bay, gonna sack. Going up the chain. Going to get 1,000 Moonsmithy. And here comes the Constructs. Well, we will Burst Lightning your face. Down to 10. Untap. We will... Oh, man. Oh, we're dead, right? We can't beat the Constructs. The Braided Net can tap down the Team Leader. So the Hellkite just dies. Yeah, so I guess we just have to warp this. Ping it a 9. Hit a Tanic. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. But we literally just die in the backswing. Well, all right. Yeah, we can't beat it. Yeah, I think Simulacrum Synthesizer is gonna get pretty busted. Yeah, opponent taps it down. Oh, close. Yeah, Synthesizer. It's a good card. It's a good card. Better than Kavu's, apparently. We can use Wild Ride to haste in our Kavus. Well, let's play a Hired Claw. Pass the turn. We do need another land for this plan to work, though. And Summon Burn Hilder. Sure. Well, play the land, and I mean, I guess we just go to combat. Get in hitch, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just pump. This does mean our opponent can haste something in, but about it. Triggers a Burn Hilder. The Memorial Team Leaders, if we don't have the ability to haste them in, they're pretty bad. Opponent, Quantum Riddler. Sure, gonna draw a card. Plays a land, gets in, hits us, down to 14. All right, we draw a land, so we get to play the land. I think we just warp a Nova Hellkite. This lets us snipe the Burn Hilder and smack you for a ton. Opponent, 16. Opponent, 10. And this also means they don't have a Saga to be able to play their own Nova Hellkite next turn. And now hopefully Memorial Team Wild Ride, hopefully that can let us close this out. We'll see. Opponent land. So opponent's got kind of a similar plan to us where they're trying to haste and warp stuff. Haste and warp does go really well together. Obviously they're not playing on a budget. Summon Burn Hilder does seem good. Not a Kavu though. Anti-casual vestige, eh? Gonna warp it. Oh wait, this goes into play tapped, right? Okay, we're kind of okay with this. Because now we get to smack our opponent for a huge, almost, if we draw a land, I think we can win here. 3, 4, that's a land. All right, so play the land. Warp, Memorial Team Leader. Wild Ride, Memorial Team Leader. And I should do it, right? Kavu! 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 Memorial Team Leader. It looks so jank. Until it's a hasty 7-3. It's working. It's working. Memorial Team Leader. Okay, Kavu. Kavu legit. All right, all right. Well, I mean, we have a lot of haste stuff once we draw our warp stuff. Right now, our only warp card is the Nova. The Nova Hellkite, which already has haste. So, opponent 4. So, if you play a land war, we're going to kill it. We are going to kill that. We are going to kill that. We have to kill that. Man, do we have to kill it? The problem is we can kill it next turn with the Nova. You know what? We're gonna be a little greedy. Let's be a little greedy. We get a free kill next turn with Nova Hellkite. Hopefully they don't play anything too bomby this turn. But it's a shame to use a a real removal spell on something that we can just kill literally for free. Wow. Okay. Well, land and let's warp in this Nova Hellkite. Snipe the Llanowar. Hit you for 4. So when this becomes tapped, another target creature you control gets +X/+X until an additional rexes its power. Okay. We kind of just want to draw land. Ugh, okay. Opponent, Frenzied Baloth. Paw Patch gets in pump. Wow, that's actually kind of scary. That's actually super scary. We're down to, we need a land, we need a land, we need a land. Okay, that's a land. We warp a Nova Hellkite to kill the Paw Patch. Opponent gets a counter. Plasm Bolt. Kill the Baloth. Hit you for 4 down to 12. This thing's popping up. Oh, scrap shooter. Okay, good card. And synchronized charge hits us for 6. Yeah, I think mono green got us. I mean, we play the Nova Hellkite, but it doesn't do anything. We die in the backswing. We can Tannic Wild Ride. That's not enough. And yeah. Well, mono green. I feel like that was kind of a weird nut draw for our opponent with this this might thing and the +1/+1 counter shenanigans. If our opponent had it, honestly, maybe it's our fault. If we had killed the Llanowar on turn 1, it might have went differently. It's so hard to give up the Hellkite kill, though. Well, all right, mono green. Sweet, I guess. Kavu Warp in Standard, and I mean, we'll try this. We'll try it. Those hands, I would say more okay than great, but a little bit nervous about only having 2 lands. We'll see. We'll see what Doom wakes up to. Opponent Plains, and whenever this creature attacks, you can pay for it to endure. All right, we're just going to burst lightning that, I think. Some sort of white weenie deck. Well, land, and I mean, I guess we just warp this. Yeah, let's warp it. Get a card in exile. Ooh, Tannic. Okay. I mean, we hope they play another X1, and then we can Nova Hellkite it. That would be pretty sweet. Opponent Plains. Voice of Victory. Well, play the land and run out Possibility Technician. All right, Wild Ride and a Tannic in exile. Opponent, Soulstone Sanctuary and a Sanguine Evangelist. I think we warp this. We really needed a land. Let's warp this. Okay, there's a land. So we can play the land. Plasm Bolt. And then Wild Ride the team leader. Wow! Opponent takes it to 9. My God, I was not expecting that. Okay, that was a good turn. That was a very good turn. The power of Hasty Warps, opponent land. I mean, we still have the Nova Hellkites, which can start picking things off. Sheltered by Ghosts. That's awkward. All right, so now we need a land. Opponent gets in. Battle Cry gains a bit of life, down to 15. Full bore. Well, we get to Nova Hellkite. Kill the Sanguine Evangelist. Opponent gets a bat. The life gain on the Shelter by Ghost is annoying. Opponent takes the beats down to 8. Opponent attempts. Light Skull Inquisitor. Well, we will get rid of the Enduring Courage for now. We need the Hellkite. We need the Hellkite the most. Still would like to hit a land. That's what we really want. Opponent gets in, hits us. Gains back a bit of life. All right, there's a land. So now we get to play the land. We get to warping Nova Hellkite. Get rid of the Sheltered by Ghost Dork. Get back our Kavu. Nova Hellkite has been absurd this match. Like, literally absurd. Like absolutely kind of busted absurd. It is just killing everything. Case of the Gateway Express for our opponent. Hits us. All right. What do we draw? What do we draw? It's a land. I think that's enough. Right? So we can play the Mountain. Nova Hellkite. Full price. Snipe the Inquisitor. Unless our opponent, if they're holding removal, get in, hit ya. But there's nothing else we can do. Full bore it. You got a removal spell? Yes! Okay. Nova Hellkite's so good. Woo! That ended up being close, but in the end, the Nova Hellkites just absolutely ate our opponent's board for dinner. Like, my goodness. The X1s. Our opponent stayed in it for a minute with the Sheltered by Ghosts, but this deck's actually oddly kind of working. Like, way better than I guess I would have expected. I kind of expected Nova Hellkite to be good. What I didn't necessarily expect was, like, Memorial Team Leader to be legit. The Kavus, better than expected. We got Kavus and we got Warp. I don't think we can complain about this draw. Land go. See what our opponent's up to. Wild man, meticulous archive, eh? Well, I mean, I guess we try to get some value here. Let's play this Weft Stalker with Warp. Full bore it. Hit you for 5. Down to 15. I imagine our opponent's some sort of control deck would be my guess. Opponent, island, and passing. Well, mountain, and let's just play the Weft Stalker Ardent. Opponent, going to consult the star charts. Yeah, it's fine. On turn 2, it's actually not very good. Much better later in the game, but on turn 2, it's like worse than anticipate. Opponent, Godless Shrine tapped, and pass it. Well, play the land. I want to play this Hellkite, but I feel like they're going to counter whatever we play here. This is where they could have no more lies. Let's just play this Memorial Team Leader. All right, it resolves. Ping ya. Get in, hit ya. All right, down to 11. Opponent, going to consult the star charts yet again. Our opponent needs to do something at some point. Opponent, Verge. Like, we still got the Hellkite in a plasma. Okay, opponent gonna blow up the board. Drops to 8. Well, we get to Warp a Nova Hellkite. Hit ya. Plasma Bolt ya. Alright, put you to 1. Play the land past the turn. How about a Burst Lightning off the top? How's about a Burst Lightning? Opponent knows they have to leave up an answer. Wow, okay. I mean, Nova Hellkite is representing lethal if we go for it. Bleachbone Verge, opponent passes. Well, let's warp a Possibility Tactician. Warp a Possibility Technician. Wild Ride? And opponent dead. Another consult the star charts. They had nothing, and well, that wasn't even close. Warp Kavu are actually crushing it. Wait, are Kavu legit? Did we break it with Kavu? No, there's no way we broke it with Kavu, but still. I kind of like Weft Stalker Ardent. It's felt better than I expected. Same with Memorial Team Leader. These were the cards I was kind of like, eh. Like, we got to play them because they're the cards that work with what we're trying to do. But are they really strong enough? And the answer is they're actually pretty strong. All right, opponent. Starting down Llanowar. Well, we are going to kill your Llanowar. That's not part of our plan for this game. Not yet. Well, play the land. We want to do something. Let's warp the Ardent. Full bore the Ardent. Hit you for 5. Down to 14. Opponent. Gonna see a lot more starting towns, I think. Another Mana Dork. And a Nurturing Pixie. Not gonna pick anything up. Well, play the land. We're gonna keep smashing. Memorial Team Leader. With Warp. Full bore. Smash you for 7. I mean, that's what we came here to do. Hit you down to 6. Opponent adapts. Can we get through the last points of damage is the question. We are kind of close to empty-handed now. This has got to be a Gearhulk deck, right? Maybe not. Llanowar Elves. And opponent passing. Well, let's just full price a Weft Stalker Ardent. Opponent going to get lost. Okay, sure. Opponent. Oh, Collector's Cage. So they can't actually pop off with Collector's Cage this turn, but that does mean we might have to Burst Lightning a creature awkwardly. Opponent getting and hitting us. Down to 19, passing. Well, let's play a Hired Claw. Let's crack a map on the Hired Claw. Alright, sure. That is annoying. Opponent's down to 1 card in hand. Opponent untaps. How scared should we be of the Collector's Cage is the question. Toby, Beastie's Befriender. Well, maybe it's going to end up not mattering because our opponent's going to be able to make it work. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we got to do it. The question is, do we have to throw it face? But I think we have to keep the cage from going off this turn. So opponent can just block. Man, these getting stuck on lands has been a problem. Let's play the Weft Stalker Ardent. Pass the turn. But now our opponent can Collector's Cage, so if they got some big bomb under, like a Crater Hoof or something under, wow, they have 2 of them now. Yeah, we might be dead. We might be dead, opponent. Collector's Cage number 2. Multiple shots. Spin it to win it. Collector's Cage into a Break Glass Gear Hulk. Yeah. Yep. Oh, man. We ended up just short. Just short on damage. Opponent, Duskgirl's Reliquary, Paw Patchery Crew. You gotta sack something to the Duskgirl's Reliquary if that's what you want to cast. Opponent, Green Man. Nova Hellkite would be the one way I could see us theoretically being able... Oh, and to Elspeth. Okay, so opponent... opponent's got it. Yeah, double Collector's Cage. Double Collector's Cage, and, I mean, in our defense, our opponent had to have 2 Get Lost in hand, and they had to draw 2 Collector's Cages, and that was just barely enough to let them steal the win. Ardent Weftstalker. Yeah, 4/9, so we're just dead. Well, I guess that does it. Even that match was super close. Like, our opponent just happened to draw all their removal, and that was literally just barely enough to keep them from dying. Like, if they had only drawn a single removal spell, I think we win that game. Or if they draw a single Collector's Cage, but drawing 2 of their 4 Get Lost, and then drawing double Collector's Cage. The good news is, Kavu did actually really well. I mean, we ended up, what, 5-3? Which, obviously, early access day, record, blah, 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 doesn't really mean that much. But I will say the deck felt way better than I would have guessed. Like, when I hear Kavu in Standard, and everything looks kind of ghostly because of this early access token thing. When I hear Kavu, I do not think of a super competitive deck, but the plan of our deck, which is essentially warp things like Possibility Technician, Weftstalker Ardent, of course, Nova Hellkite kind of busted. We got a Tanic in there, Memorial Team Leader, and then just haste them in with Wild Rides, haste them in with Full Bores. It actually worked really well. Our deck was really good. It just like chunking our opponent for 6, chunking him for 7, chunking him for 5, and eventually that adds up to a dead opponent. I will say, as far as individual cards, Nova Hellkite felt like the truth. It felt so incredibly good. And Possibility Technician felt way better than I thought. My concern with Possibility Technician is, are there really enough Kavus to make it work? And even in our deck, we have Memorial Team Leader, Possibility Technician, and a Tanic, which is like all the somewhat good Kavus that exist in Standard, at least in Mono Red. And it was still enough. Like, the card advantage was really good. And the warp mechanic itself just felt really powerful, being able to like play a card. And yes, we are built around it, right? We did have to build around it. It's not like we're just running out warp things and then putting them in exile and getting no value. The haste is really essential, but with being built around, warp felt really, really good. And it's just one of those fun mechanics that make sure you always have something to do. There's always action. So I really, really like the warp mechanic. And honestly, I really like this deck. It's kind of a weird twist on a mono red aggro deck, but it played really well. And a lot of our janky cards were actually all-stars. Like Memorial Team Leader looks like a unplayable piece of draft chaff, but when you actually build around it in the context of Kavus and being able to haste it in, it was actually one of the better cards in our deck. So anyway, that is not Minotaur. That is Kavu Warp Aggro. That's our Budget Magic deck for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I'll be back soon next week with another one. So until then, have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.